Hey, folks. I know you could be listening to one of a million different podcasts right now, and I am super grateful you picked this one. Welcome to The Human Show. I'm your host, Trish, a holistic life coach and a mom navigating this complex world of human emotions. Here, we will share stories, insights, research, and information to help you step into the most true version of yourself so you can be a happy human. Now let's get into it. Hey, folks. Thanks for being here. So, I have a question. When you get in the car, do you put the radio on right away before you even start driving? How about when you're in a conversation and there is silence? Do you feel compelled to fill it? Yeah, I've been there. Many of us are so uncomfortable in silence, yet it's such an important part of life, and one I think is often overlooked. I mean, think about one of your favorite songs. I wonder if you've ever noticed the bits of silence in it. Silence is critical to music. There was a time, a long time ago, when sheet music did not yet include a notation for rests, and a rest in music as a pause. So those pauses, the timing of those pauses were determined by the acoustics in the building where the music was being performed. So in a building where sound reverberated, the musicians had to pause long enough to avoid blending one line of music with the next. So those silences were pretty important to the execution of the song. And this also required the musicians to be incredibly aware, to be masterful listeners, and to really work together. Because if they started playing the next line while the sounds of the previous line were still reverberating, then it would have probably sounded a bit chaotic. So these pauses, these moments of silence were pretty critical. And since rests have become a regular part of music composition, silence is now used intentionally when making music. And I'm sure you've heard songs where there's a pause and then a big drum beat comes in, or maybe a symphony of instruments comes in, or some dramatic guitar chord, and it makes the song, right? I mean, silences are strategically placed in songs, and it's what makes them unique is the timing of those pauses. Anyway, so what does this have to do with self-care? Well, I picked music because music is universal, right? Everyone can connect with some type of music. And when we talk about music or any kind of sounds in our environment, we're referring to external noise. And when we can create external silence, that helps make space for us to create inner silence. And quieting your mind is truly self-care. Sitting in silence brings us into the present moment. And presence is a state of being, not doing. You know, our culture is so focused on doing, how much we can do. We're always doing. So much that we often forget to be. And when we're in presence and we are just being, that's when we're able to connect. Connect with ourself, connect with our higher consciousness, the universe, God, creator, source, whatever you would like to call it. That immense, infinite force out there that's everywhere all the time. Being in presence allows us to connect with that force. Why do we want to connect with that? Because that's where the magic happens. That's where healing happens. That's where awareness happens. That's where clarity happens. That's where manifesting happens. And that's where answers can show up for us. I bet you've heard someone at some point in your life say something along the lines of, the answers are inside you. Maybe you saw it in a movie or read it in a book, and a character said, the answers you seek are within. Right? Something like that. And maybe you dismissed it. Well, I'm here to tell you, it's actually true. The answers you seek are inside of you. Now, you may be thinking, yeah, well, if the answers are inside me, how come I don't know them? How come I don't hear them? How come I don't hear a voice telling me what to do? Well, take a guess. I'll give you a hint. It has to do with the topic of this episode. Not enough silence. We don't hear the answers we need because there's too much noise inside of us. In our brain, there's too much noise. And when there's noise, you're not present. Imagine being in an arena at a concert and there's, 20, 30,000 people. And you're trying to hear someone that's on the other side of the arena and they're trying to tell you something. Are you going to hear it? No. Well, that's kind of like the answer you need trying to get through to you on a daily basis. And that arena is like our brain. It's just filled with noise. So we can't hear the answers. When there's too much noise, we can't be present. And when you're not present, you are not connected to yourself. And when you are not connected to yourself, you don't have clarity. The only way for you to get those answers that you need, the only way for those answers to show themselves is for you to get out of the way. And the way you do that is by quieting your mind. The more time you can spend in silence with a quiet mind in the present moment, the more opportunity there is for the answers to come through to you. The more opportunity there is for manifesting to happen, for clarity to happen, for inner peace to happen. Wayne Dyer and Deepak Chopra, you may have heard of those guys. They were very close friends. And Wayne used to joke that whenever he had a problem and he would call up Deepak to ask for advice, Deepak's answer was always meditate. Now, Wayne Dyer was a spiritual teacher, world renowned. Okay, he wrote tons of books. He did thousands of lectures around the world about being connected by connecting to your higher self, about manifesting, about living the life you want, about making the most of the human experience. And even he would have problems and questions and challenges. And how did he get the answers he needed? He meditated. He sat in silence. He quieted his mind. Presence is self-care. And it's self-care that everyone needs.
Who said that? 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 Who said that?
All the wonders of life are already here. They're calling you. If you can listen to them, you will be able to stop running. What you need, what we all need, is silence. Stop the noise in your mind in order for the wondrous sounds of life to be heard. Then you can begin to live your life authentically and deeply. That's from Thich Nhat Hanh. He was a Buddhist monk from Vietnam. He was a peace activist, an author, a teacher, among other things, and he wrote many books. So this quote is from his book called Silence, The Power of Quiet in a World Full of Noise. This guy wrote a whole book on silence, okay? That's how important it is. So, if you're listening to this, then I'm going to make the guess that you are interested in self-care, whether or not you are already practicing it. So, I encourage you to make the choice to make time for self-care. And if your schedule is pretty full and you're thinking, yeah, I don't really have time to fit in any self-care or any more self-care, because I have 100 things on my to-do list every day. And I get it. So here's my idea for you. Pick a time, morning, afternoon, evening, it doesn't matter when. And maybe it's in your car before you go into work. Or maybe it's in your car when you're finished work before you drive home or drive on to your next thing. Or maybe it's in your car before or after grocery shopping. Or maybe you're in a place where other people are and the only privacy you can get is in the bathroom. And I totally get it. Then go in the bathroom. Go anywhere where you can be alone. And I'm just asking you to take a 1-minute pause. 1 minute is all I'm asking. I want you to sit or stand for 1 minute, alone, with your eyes closed, and just notice your breathing. That's all. I'm not asking you to meditate. I'm not asking you to do any special breathing techniques. I'm just asking you to sit or stand and notice your breathing. Your breathing is going to happen naturally anyway, so it's an easy thing to focus on. And while you're sitting there, or standing there, with your eyes closed, likely a thought is going to pop into your head, and that's okay. I invite you to just watch the thought float away like a cloud, and then just return to your breathing. So, set a timer on your phone for 1 minute, close your eyes, and breathe. That's all. Give yourself permission to do nothing else but breathe. How often in your day do you give yourself permission to do nothing else but breathe? I'm going to guess not often enough. Well, I just want you to do that for 1 minute. And the next day, I want you to do it again. And the next day, do it again. And after you do it a few times, maybe you'll think, oh, you know what? A minute goes by pretty quickly. So if you want, bump it up to 2 minutes. Why am I asking you to do this? Because silence is self-care. And if making time for one of the many other self-care options seems overwhelming to you, then this could be a simple alternative to start getting some self-care into your day. You know, often when we have a few minutes, we pick up our phone, right? We start scrolling. So I encourage you, next time you have a few minutes between activities, leave your phone where it is and just sit in silence. Now, maybe you're thinking, okay, if I sit quietly for 60 seconds, what's that going to do? Well, you might be surprised. Sitting alone in silence for 60 seconds, at the very least, is going to give your brain a break, give your body a break. And it's going to show you that you're able to do it. It's going to show you that you are able to quiet your mind. And if finding connection and clarity and answers and inner peace sounds appealing to you, then try quieting your mind for a minute. Try it for a minute a day. And then maybe one day, do it a little longer. But start with 1 minute so you set yourself up for success. Don't just dive in and say, okay, I'm going to start meditating for an hour a day. Because chances are you won't stick with it. And then that doesn't feel great. So set yourself up for success so you can feel good about what you're doing. You know, babies don't go from rolling around on the floor to running. They take steps. Everything starts with one step. So if you're new to meditating, if you're new to practicing presence, I'm inviting you to just take a step in that direction. I'm inviting you to take one step toward taking care of yourself by connecting with yourself. And that one step is 1 minute of silence. So try it. Try it every day for a week and see how it goes. And if you're open to sharing your experience, I'd love to hear about it. My contact info is in the show notes, so drop me a line. And until next time, you are enough, just as you are, and you are loved. Make a great day.